Peace to the saints. Today's lecture is on how to protect yourself against gold diggers and women who would try to make your money their money. And the challenge for both the male and the female is that some females don't realize that they're gold diggers, or they've grown up in a culture wherein they've been programmed to think that the male is a financial source. And the challenge for males is that some women who are seemingly perfectly good women may become gold diggers once you two are at odds. Today, I will bless you with a few very meaningful strategies and systems that you can deploy to protect yourself and to ensure that you have a good, healthy relationship. There are two types of, rather, two levels of female that you have to be cautious about. The first one is the basic gold digger who is fairly blatant in her approach, in that you take her out on date one, she doesn't pay, which is fair enough. And then you go on date two and she doesn't pay the tip. She doesn't go Dutch. She just lets you pay that whole check and just sits there as though she didn't see it. Or another thing they like to do to make it a little less awkward for themselves is when that check comes out, all of a sudden they got to go to the bathroom. And so they'll all get up and go to the bathroom when the check's coming out so that there's not that little bit of awkwardness as to like, oh, will you be chipping in for this one? Those women, I say, are quite blatant. And if you somehow confuse them into being truly interested in only you and not what you can offer them financially or what they can experience being a part of your lifestyle, whether it's nice restaurants, great events, driving in a fancy car, meeting high level people, you see, they're there for all of those benefits, but it's obvious because they don't contribute. You might say, okay, well, I'm much wealthier than her. So, she's not able to pay for all of these fine things. Well, yeah, even if that's the case, a person who has integrity will still contribute something. They'll want to pay the tip, or they'll invite you over to their house and they'll cook you dinner, or they'll make themselves of service so that there's some level of balance in terms of the level of contribution. But if you find that you're paying everything and she thinks for some reason what she brings to the table is just herself, i.e., her vagina, that's her only real value, then this woman is clearly a gold digger, you see. Now, then there's the other higher level, more complex and insidious gold digger, which is the woman who maybe wasn't a gold digger to start, but may have turned into one, which is to say, men have an easy time taking responsibility, which is to say, when a relationship ends, we are comfortable saying, okay, it didn't work out. I take part in being half responsible for the fact that it didn't work out. I'm going to go on about my business, move on to the next thing. Conversely, females having a lot of trouble with taking responsibility, especially if they were not raised by a wise father. When things end, they feel as though it was wholly the man's fault. He's a narcissist. He's dishonest. He's this, he's that. He's all of these bad things, so many bad things that would make you wonder, well, how is it you ever even married this fellow? Let me give you all the definition of alimony. This is something, by the way, you all hear many complaints about from males today. Alimony is financial support that a person is ordered by a court to give to their spouse during separation or following divorce. Now, there's a couple comical aspects of this. As you all know, most divorces are brought forward by the female, which is comical because most marriages are also brought forward by the female. The sad reality is that, there are two struggles. Number one, the female is generally an emotional creature who is not linear in their thinking and is given to fantasy. There's a fantasy about marriage, particularly the wedding. There's an overemphasis on the wedding, which is a single day. There's a lack of emphasis on the marriage, which is a lifetime, well, supposed to be. And the woman becomes obsessed with this day in which she gets to be the center of attention. Oh, side note, attention is a magical drug to the female psyche. So she's centered around this single day, and she gets to experience this day, which is a big climax. And then after that, there's the hard work, or shall we say, the less exciting work of marriage and being a wife. They'd rather be a bride than a wife. Ooh, that's a nice quotation. Would someone DM me? Most women would rather be a bride than a wife. Yes, please do DM me that. Carrying on. That being the case, they forced the male into a marriage commitment that he generally did not want at that time. They're ready before you're ready, which makes sense because the female does mature faster. And more importantly, the biological clock is ticking. And the immature female in this society tends to date males her own age. So when you're dating someone your own age, the female's ready before the male. So you end up getting married, and both of you theoretically should want to stay in the marriage, except the female not only has that emotional variation, which is just inherently a human female characteristic, but then there's this other factor of her actual biology is making significant changes as time goes on. Estrogen levels are changing, hormonal changes going on, menopause. So she actually, at some level, is becoming a different person, which would be reasonable if you looked at her and said, I don't even know who you are anymore, because she actually has had significant changes. And conversely, the male, over time, you'll lose some amount of testosterone, but you're probably not going to change as rapidly and as significantly. And certainly you won't be as disagreeable. Women are going through menopause, talking about, turn on the AC, it's hot. And you turn it on, they're like, ooh, it's freezing in here. They're having hot flashes, cold flashes.
You sound like an old woman.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. So while they're going through all of this, the male is maintaining fairly steady. And now that they've gone through these changes, they've changed and they're looking at you like, why haven't you changed? Or maybe like, hey, the new me doesn't like the old you. And now they want a divorce. Or maybe they just engaged in adultery or other low moral behaviors. But whatever the case is, they bring forth the divorce. And ironically, though they've brought forth the divorce, now they're trying to turn the divorce into a payday, as though you haven't been paying during the whole duration of the marriage. Strange. So the woman brings forth the divorce, and then she wants to turn it into a payday, i.e., alimony. And in a wicked society, we have the laws arranged such that when a woman is no longer under your care, nor is she there to benefit you, you still have to pay for her. That is peculiar. That's like walking into Starbucks and saying, hey, I'd like to have a coffee. And they make you pay, but they never give you the coffee. That's essentially what's happening. And the ironic part, not only are you paying for the coffee's being handed to another man, and he gets to drink the coffee free of cost at your expense, in fact, because there's no such thing as free of cost. There is always a cost. It's a cost to your pockets, and in this case, probably a cost to your pride as well. And so the ironic thing is that your spouse is now sleeping with another man and you're paying her to do it. Like, talk about getting done dirty. This is the kind of thing that'll get you killed, ain't it? That's why you be seeing these chicks on forensic files chopped up. Go ahead.
I just laughed.
Okay, yeah, I can't blame you. Now, consider this. Here's the sad reality of our society. And let us not be unclear. Alimony was created for women. It is the good fortune that sometimes men can get alimony, but it is rarely the case. Increasingly, it may be the case as females are beginning to outpace males economically, primarily because males are becoming weak and lazy and wicked, as some of the folks in the comments we've seen. So that being the case, that women are scraping this alimony out of your pockets from your hard-earned dollars, you have to ask yourself, well, why would they want my money if they're an independent woman? Why would they want my money if they too are an adult? Well, that's strange, because don't adults earn for themselves? Well, the reality is that they're actually more like a child, because when you ask yourself, well, who else does the court system order men to pay money to without condition of the relationship or how they behave? Children. The court system orders men to pay money to children for children. It's called child support. Now, spousal support is quite a pathetic idea, because why would you have to support an adult that you're not dealing with, you're not friends with? In fact, you might even be enemies of. Very peculiar. So let us not deny the clear reality that at some level, women can be very similar to children, both pouty, emotional, and not behaving according to way the world really is, and thinks the world owes them something. They have a lot in common.